Oh,
Mm.
mm. Welcome
Are
back,
we live?
everyone. We are live.
Are we
Welcome
live?
back. We are live. Welcome back,
I
everyone.
didn't have a countdown. Wait a minute. I didn't have a
Oh,
countdown.
we had a countdown. We're live, ladies and
Where's the
gentlemen.
countdown? I need to know where the countdown is before we move
Oh,
forward, just
dead
so I know.
center. We saw it. Yeah, but we're live.
Where? I see. I didn't have a countdown on my screen, Mike.
Oh, we
Could we
had one, but
change
we're
that in the
live now.
future?
Welcome everyone back. And we'll
I
change that in the
understand
future.
that. And that's
Yeah.
so we can change that. So I have that on my screen.
Yeah, we can change that in the future. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Like
Yeah,
like the next show.
like the next show.
Okay.
But
Good
it's
morning, everybody.
Victory
Welcome.
Monday,
Welcome back
baby.
to the show. It is episode 627 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I got to be honest with you. This is the first time in years I felt like we have a football team. This has been it's Victory Monday, of course. Good morning, everybody. Mike, how
Yes.
you doing today?
I'm doing great. Like you said, man, Victory Monday. It's happy feelings all around.
I was gonna say because before the show I heard you singing Darkwing Duck, and I thought, hey, what the hell is he doing? This is taking me back a little bit, but you weren't talking about Darkwing Duck. You were talking about uh, Russell Wilson is dangerous. I loved
Dangerous.
I loved what I see. The only thing that I hope is that we can stay consistent and continue to do the things that we were able to do last night. Because
Hmm.
again, we all know that one good game is not doesn't really win anything, but a beat up secondary and an injured defense by the Jets, we were allowed to do all the things that we wanted to do in this football game. And you know what? I'm not going to bring it down with all those kind of
Yeah.
details because we won, guys. We're 5-2. We're still in first place. Again, it's going to be a whole nother week because Baltimore can't pass us in record this week. Um, big game tonight. We're going to talk about a little bit later about the Baltimore Ravens. It might help us out in the division if Tampa Bay can help us. If our old friend Baker Mayfield, who did such a good job of knocking us out of the playoffs a few years back, maybe just maybe could give us a little help this time. I wouldn't put my money on it. I got to be honest with you. But again, we'll talk
Yeah.
more about that game shortly as we move along. It is Victory Monday. The Pittsburgh Steelers get the big win. Big, 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 big. And it's you can't even you don't even begin to understand how big that this win was. We will get into all that stuff today, along with the wins over the weekend. We have a world. There's a WNBA championship, little college football over the weekend. But guys, the big story today, of course, is Darkwing Duck. Right, Russell Wilson gets the start last night, and here we are, 5-2, getting ready to go into the season against the New York Giants at home. A pretty bad,
Hmm.
realistically, believe that we may be 6-2 heading into the break. Get a little time off, maybe to heal, come back and start the dreadful second half of the season. But guys, why think about that now? We can enjoy what happened yesterday. The Steelers beat the New York Jets, guys. Back-to-back 30-point game.
Ooh,
I didn't think we'd ever this again.
neither did I. I thought
Good
it
morning,
was never ever
Jen.
going to happen. Yeah, I thought it was never going to happen that we would ever win, put a back-to-back 30-point games. It was a sight to see. I loved it. You know, Danger
Absolutely.
Russ had this team moving.
And here's something interesting about your Danger Russ. Danger Russ threw a touchdown in his last 20 games that he played. That is the longest active streak in the NFL. So this morning, as all the naysayers, tune into TV and to talk about the game, and now it's one game, blah 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 blah. You could also remember that Russell Wilson has thrown a touchdown in his last 20 games, more than anybody else. There's been no streak. There's no active streak as long as this, guys. Russell Wilson, he just might be what the doctor ordered. Mike, what do you think, man? I got to tell you, I feel like this is a team that could win playoff games if with the team that showed up yesterday, which again, consistency has been a big thing for the Steeler team over the past few years. But I got to tell you, this is the best I've seen them play. You think just maybe this team might pose a threat in the playoffs?
Oh God, I think they can. We saw. this offense, like start clicking in the second half or towards the end of the second quarter. We saw the identity of this offense. What Russ took 44 snaps under center in one game. That's more than Justin Fields did in the first 6 games, and you can see that's kind of what Arthur Smith wants to do. He wants to use play action out of under center, those runs up the middle, some of the stupid toss sweeps. But we started now we're seeing like the vision of the offense, and when you have George playing the way he does, I love it. And yeah, I just saw Derpy's
Good
comment.
morning,
Maybe lose train of thought.
Derpy.
But no, I the offense was clicking. I love the adjustments they made in the second half. I love the way the line's playing. The line played well. Russ wasn't under that much pressure. Pressures are going to happen. It's the pros, but man, he looked really good. After got the rust off, that defense played well down the stretch. They made their adjustments. After they gave up those 2 quick touchdowns, they locked in and locked down, and they made that the fear of Aaron Rodgers that's supposed to strike heart into the Steelers defense never happened. Never happened. Devontae Adams was shut down outside of a handful of catches, and I think like I talked about on the pregame show yesterday, Alan Lazard would be the only receiver I want to beat us, and he was their best offensive weapon outside of Brees Hall in the Pats game. So yeah, I think this team played their most complete game. And if they can play like this, they can win a playoff game, maybe 2, because no one in the AFC is looking that dominant right now.
As you
That's a
mentioned,
perfect comment,
Mike,
Darby. That's a perfect comment.
there was not many weapons on by way of the New York Jets yesterday. They had Devontae Adams, the big deal. Of course, he was projected to possibly come here. Then he ended out at the last moment going to play with his buddy up in New York. And you thought perhaps we might get killed by him this game. That's just kind of the way things work
Mhm.
for the Steelers sometimes. I don't know why they do. And he had Mike. What did he have? He had 3 catches. He had 3 catches for 30
Three
yards,
catches.
and then also,
Yeah.
but as you said, Hall had 103 yards in the passing
Yeah.
game. That's what hurt him. Hall didn't do much out of the backfield. He had 30 yards on 12 carries. Not a lot out of this Jets offense that really scared me. I thought that would be a little bit scarier than it was. But Mike, it
Mm-hmm.
is Monday. It is Victory Monday. Let's go over some interesting things here real quick. Let me pop out some interesting information from this game. Uh, First of all, at the end of the game, Russell Wilson, after the interview, was asked what his catchphrase is. And for whatever reason, Russell Wilson says, "We're not going to do that yet." They said, "You used to do the giddy up or whatever the hell
Yeah. Let's ride. Bronco
it was
Nation's
in
Let's Ride.
Denver
Yeah.
and whatever it was in Seattle." What? Not yet. We're not going to do that yet. Let's ride. So that is the number one interesting point from last night. A couple more, Mike, of course. The 69 points in the last 2 games. 69 points from the Pittsburgh Steelers offense in the last 2 games. Of course, it was broken
Nice.
down between 2 different quarterbacks. Nonetheless, 69 in the 2 last games. There was 31
Mm-hmm.
unanswered points last night. We were down 15-6. At that point, you're wondering, man, how's this game going to go? We're down 15-6. We're down 9 points. What's going to happen? We scored 31 unanswered points again to beat the Jets, 37-15. Another interesting statistic from the night: the Steelers haven't let up a third quarter point all season.
Whew.
Say what you will about this defense, but I don't think that there's another defense in the league that hasn't let up a single point in a third quarter all season. I could be wrong, but any way you slice it, that is interesting. Beanie Bishop, guys. Beanie Bishop became the
Ooh.
5th player to intercept Aaron Rodgers 2 times in a game in his long Hall of Fame career. Only the 5th player to have 2 interceptions against Aaron Rodgers in a game in Rodgers' career. Beanie Bishop, where did that come from?
Can I
And
add a quick
finally,
little stat into that Beanie Bishop one?
yeah,
He's the first undrafted player to intercept a former league MVP twice in the same game.
there you go. And finally, Mike Williams, the guy that we are possibly thinking about trading for. I don't really see what it is. I mean, he had 1 catch for 15 yards yesterday. Of course, he is a decent receiver, but I'm not thrilled with Mike Williams. But on the other hand, we're going into the halfway point of the season, and we still have no number 2 receiver. I think this should be adjusted. This should be addressed at some point, Mike. At some point,
Yeah.
you're going to need it. You're going to come up against a good team. You're going to come up against a team that could shut down George Pickens. And after that, I don't know how much, even though Van Jefferson did score a touchdown last night
Yeah.
in front of his dad, who's a coach on the other team,
Yeah.
I don't know how.
We did.
I don't know how with that. I mean, he's literally shown
Yeah.
us he could do it one time. But again, we got new things happening all the time, but we do have to start building consistency now moving forward. But this win, guys, was huge. It was huge. Absolutely 100% huge. On the board, good morning to Field of Steel. He says, finally, complimentary football. How many points off of one blocked field goal and 2 interceptions? Same game, even. Absolutely. Also, good morning to Timmy Turner. Yeah, guys, we even blocked 2 field goals. One of them got penalized. One was the Minka where he jumped over guys and his finger literally touched the guy's shoulder. Unbelievable call. We should have had 2 blocked field goals that game.
Yeah, like they said on the broadcast, it has to be a deliberate motion to block. You can touch him, you just can't push off, and that's what he did. He was already in the air, barely grazed the guy. The league has something against Mika Fitzpatrick blocking kicks for some odd reasons. Ever since he blocked that one against the Bengals, 2-3 years ago, every year he's blocked since, it's been called back. There's a conspiracy against Minka. But no, that special teams unit, I'm sure we'll talk about them later. It reminds me of Virginia Tech back in the day. You remember, they would block kicks every single game. Frank Beamer had the team, going crazy. That's what Danny Smith's reminding me of, man. Those old school Virginia Tech teams were blocking punts, blocking kicks. I'm loving it.
Mike, can I make a point to you real quick? You don't mind?
Yes, that I'm awesome.
Danny Smith, you mentioned. Well, no.
Yes.
Danny Smith, as you mentioned. What do you notice about the group of guys on the special teams? The energy that they bring to the special teams.
Yeah.
Now, that's always my point when I talk about, I'm not for cowards spitting in faces and pissing people off, but I think the energy that you get from the person who's motivating you sometimes could go a long way, and you can see it with this special teams. Now, when I see Danny Smith running up and down the sidelines, gum flying out of his face, yelling, his arms are flailing, he's running over, he's grabbing guys. That's what I'm talking. I'm talking about the energy when I have that conversation. I don't mean I like when Bill Cowher spits on people and is an asshole toward people.
Yeah.
I like that energy, and sometimes you need that from the person to create the energy within yourself. As you seen last night in the special teams game, they play like Danny Smith is. You know what I'm saying? I feel his energy when they're blocking not one but 2 field goals, when they're nailing a guy on coverage, when they're that's all I'm trying to say. But I seen that last night, and I said I'm going to tell that about Mike tomorrow, because I think sometimes it gets misconstrued when I talk about how I like coaching. I love that energy. You can't tell me you didn't feel the energy of that special teams.
Oh, that's the energy I want. That's the energy I want from my special teams.
And it's hard to talk that into guys.
Be that nut. I want to be that. You need that on special teams. Like for my head coach, I like that. The Tomlin, the Cowher, the Belichick, the calm, cool, collected. I'll let everyone else do ever that. I'll be that. Hopefully, be that steadying force.
And that's the point that I'm trying to convey here is you feel that energy from that particular coach. You know what I mean? And I got to tell you, I mean, this is Baltimore Ravens stuff. The Pittsburgh Steelers generally until this year, they would be few and far between. But the way the Ravens play on special teams, it reminded me of that. It's never an easy field goal. It's never an easy extra. Yeah. That's a good thing. And I got to tell you guys, I like Danny Smith. I like what's going on with the special teams. Smith. Because look at the difference those kind of things make during the course of a game where it doesn't seem like much, but it certainly does. Again, the Steelers run away with this one, 37-15. Like, we got a lot of stuff we're going to go over today. We got numbers, we got grades, we have again, big game tonight that can certainly affect our division. But let's talk about the man of the hour. And you know what? You could really say there's probably about 3 or 4 men of the hour. But the man of the hour, Mike, give me your. What do you think about Russell Wilson, especially after the way he played last night, especially the way the team played around him? What did he bring to the table that we can certainly be excited about moving forward? Again, we're 1 game away from the halfway point, I guess you could call it, being that there's 9 games on the back end. But this Giants game, not as tough as the team. You don't want it to be a trap game, but certainly as important as the rest of them. Mike, what is it that Russell Wilson brings to the table moving forward?
Man, that veteran. I hate it's a cliche answer. That veteran leadership, that
But that's
been
a
there,
good
done
answer.
that mentality though. You saw it. He did not let his early struggles get to him. He didn't let it get to anyone else. He didn't let the booze. He didn't let the "we want Justin" chance get to him.
I
The
thought that
team
was it
didn't
for
buy
him.
into any of that negative energy, and he was that steadying influence out there. And you compare contrast it to Rogers. Rogers had that bad body language. Russ never, his body language didn't change. He was steady throughout. And then he started hitting that deep ball to Pickens. That first one down the sidelines. We haven't seen a throw like that consistently in a long time here in Pittsburgh. And it was a sight to see. And one of the things I loved on that first pass to Pickens, you watch the sidelines. Who do you see on the sideline as the ball was in the air going like this? It was Fields. Fields knew it was on the money. They get the first down. Fields is celebrating, and it's like that energy that him and Russ had, that relationship, is rubbing off on the team. Like, no, yeah, you may be the starter right now, but I'm going to support you because I know my chance is going to come. Or if you go down, I'll be in and ready to go. And they've fostered that all throughout the season. That's bled into the whole team. Frymuth talked about that after the game. Like, we all have each other's back, and we haven't had that kind of chemistry since Ben was here. Because we've had such a disorganized quarterback room with free agents, rookies, not knowing who's going to be the guy. Now you have these two guys here, Russ taking ownership of everything, supporting Fields throughout. That's just that steadying influence throughout the team, and you saw it tonight, especially on offense after those early struggles.
Now, do you feel any better about the second half of the season
I do.
after what we've seen from the last two games? I mean, these are both 2-5 teams. Don't fool yourself. Remember, Devontae Adams jumped from 2-5 team to another instead of jumping to a 5-2 team. But these were 2-5 teams. I mean, any way you slice that is the fact.
Mm-hmm.
But you do feel better moving forward in the
Yeah.
second against the division teams, the
Mm-hmm.
Ravens, the Chiefs, the Commanders, and the
Yeah.
Eagles, with what you've seen out of these
I
teams from the past 2 weeks.
I do because these were two games that we should have won, and we did in convincing fashion in the second half. We shut both teams down because if we lost these games or they're close games, the narrative will be completely different. So you factor that in.
What do you think we're going to complain about this week, Mike? What do you think the
Oh,
media
we'll
is?
find something else. Well, I already saw on that Russ's first complete pass, people were like, "Well, he had someone else open deeper." Like,
Yeah,
this is his first game in almost a year. Let him
where he hit Darnell Washington,
yeah,
and
like
yeah,
prove it was open deeper. But you take that first pass, people were bitching about that. We're gonna find something to complain about once we start watching the game film. It's gonna happen. But I like the way we played. I like the way the ball was spread around. A little less toss sweeps would be nice, but they're starting to hit. They're starting to hit a little bit. But no, I'm liking this team. I'm feeling more confident going in. We're winning the games we should. We should be undefeated. But a couple of
only two
handful of plays here.
losses
And
were
there. It
by
happened.
3 points apiece.
Yep, it
Come on.
happens. It happens. You have to move on from them. The team did, and they're playing good football. They're making good adjustments throughout the game too. And they didn't just wait until the halftime to make adjustments. You saw the offense and defense start to get better and better in that first half. By the time second half or the end of that first half rolled around, you can see that we were getting ready to take over the game. Some fine tuning in the locker room. This team came out ready to go. This could be a dangerous team.
Good
So
morning,
much to
John, as
be
well.
impressed.
John says, well done in all three phases, something I haven't seen in a few years.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's literally a few years. I do want to say, guys, I love keeping up with the board, but today there's a million things we got to talk about. This show could literally go on for about 3 or 4
I
hours if we
know,
do
right?
cover everything. So I apologize. We will be hitting, but as you see, we are posting the messages on the board. So, that'll kind of soften the blow, but we will be getting to every message as we can throughout the show. But like I said, there's a lot of stuff to get out today. So just bear with us. Uh, it's Steeler Monday. Let's all just enjoy this together, guys. My goodness, Mike, let's get into some numbers. Why don't we? The
Yeah,
Steelers, let's see. Russell Wilson, 16 for 29, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns on the night. Najee Harris, 21 carries, 102 yards. Boy, is he starting to look is he starting to look good. A touchdown. Russell Wilson all had a touchdown on the ground. George Pickens, 5 catches, 111 yards, a touchdown. Van Jefferson, 2 for 15, a touchdown. Mike, these are the numbers that you expect and want to see when you crack open your newspapers the
Yeah.
following day. Your quarterback with a big day, your running back gets you around 100 yards, and your number one receiver gets you over 100 yards.
Yeah.
This is what good teams do from
Hmm.
week to week. And just to go back to real quick to what you were saying earlier about that the cliche of been there, done that. Nobody in 3 years has been able to figure out just throw the ball up there and let your talent make a play.
Yeah.
That is a thing in football, guys. I don't know what the big problem is, but the guy who's been there, done that, the only guy that's won any Super Bowls out of all them people, figured this out in just one game. And I got to say, there was a lot of bobbles, but you know what? There was a lot of catches off those bobbles.
Hmm.
George Pickens, a couple times, he was grabbing the ball out
He
of
was locked
guys'
in.
faces and heads and everything else. And then also, uh, Pat Fryermuth has a big, bobble and a catch. Let these guys make plays. This is what they do. They're very, very talented. Let them make plays. And guess what? Russell Wilson is the first one that figured it out of this last pack since Ben Roethlisberger has retired. I like it. I like a lot of things I've seen from this game, Mike. The team numbers were this: total yards, Pittsburgh 409, Jets 323. The passing game, the Steelers had 260, the Jets had 269. The running game, the Steelers had 149, the Jets had 54. Steelers had 21 first downs to the Jets 17. Listen to this. Aaron Rodgers throws 2 interceptions, both to Beanie Bishop, of course. The Steelers have thrown 1 interception through 7 weeks, which was a batted around ball that probably should have hit the ground, and it
Hmm.
hit 5 people's hands. Dude picked it off. Aaron Rodgers throws 2 last night. The Steelers won in 7 weeks, and the Steelers do win the time of possession 32 minutes to 28 minutes, basically, with some seconds both ways. On the defensive side of the ball, Deshaun Elliott leads the way with 6 tackles. No surprise. He is the leading tackler on this
He's
team.
a beast.
Beanie Bishop, 5 tackles, 1 assisted tackle, 2 interceptions. Ogunjobi has the lone sack. Cam Hayward, just 2 tackles. But I got to tell you, I recognized when they happened. I seen Cam Hayward make
Hmm.
both of his tackles. So, you know what? He's playing better. I don't know what got into this team over the past 2 weeks, but they look pretty good, Mike. They're as good as anybody else in the league right now. Come on. I mean, with the exception of maybe the Lions and the referee assisted Kansas City Chiefs, this looked like one of the nicest teams that I've seen in the league
Yeah.
from what I've seen
Yeah.
the
It
past 2
was.
weeks.
Yeah, it was some really, really good football from this team. And like you said, like even TJ Watt, he only had 1 tackle, but I loved what they did with him. People were saying, "Oh, you got to move him around to make sure he can affect the game." He was affecting the game. There was
Oh,
2 guys
absolutely.
on him, sometimes 3 guys on him every play, and that led people were doubling Cam, doubling Ogunjobi, and that freed up everyone else to make plays. I loved it. Yeah, I would see TJ making splash plays here and there, but he was willingly eating up blockers. He really was like another defensive lineman out there. Cam was eating up blocks fighting through. Ogunjobi, I don't know. He was shot out of a cannon from the from the opening
Yeah.
whistle. Um, I thought Keanu Benton played a much better game. That's one of his better games. He was
Mm-hmm.
just in the whole sequence of that screenplay that he busted up. Read it, recognized it, was out there in coverage,
Like
three
this
yards
whole
downfield.
team, it was like they
They're
coked
playing.
them up before they came
There's
out.
something these past 2 weeks. Something has clicked with this team, and I'm going to go back to what Bill Belichick said before. He's like, you don't know. Once like you get through those first 4 or 5 games, you figure out what team you have, and then from there you start building upon that. And you look at the Steelers, the first 4 games, we figured out what we were. We stumbled a little bit. Now everything is getting cleaned up and corrected. We're battling through injuries. Guys that are coming in and being plugged into play are picking up where the starters have left off. Like they mentioned on the board, McCullum and McCormick. You couldn't tell
What
that
can
these
you say
guys
about
are
this
too
offensive
young.
line?
A rookie and a second year guy coming up off the practice squad. Like they were making plays, and it's nice to see. Like all the depth players are playing well. The starters are playing well.
Mike, this is the most points that the Steelers scored since November 21st, 2021.
Woo!
November 21st, 2021. Here we are, October 21, 2024. We just scored as many points as we did on that day back in 2021. Again, a lot of things to like from this. I would like to see the team consistently start to do the things that it was able to do last night. That is, again, last night was a great
So,
showing. I'm not going to take many things from this game and say negative, even if I seen any, because you know what?
yeah.
This is a game that we've been craving here as
Hmm.
Steeler fans for quite some time. We got it, and there's no sense of bringing any kind of cloud above this victory, guys. Again, 5-2, atop the division. The Cincinnati Bengals, they beat the Browns in a clown fest that we'll talk about again also later on. That puts the Browns at 1-6 on the season, which I think is hilarious. Uh, a lot of things after this weekend, Mike, certainly gives you reason to feel optimistic. A couple of things that may not lead you to optimism are the shoulder injury to Dante Jackson and the knee to Montravius Adams. Those were the two injuries of
Hmm.
significance of the game. We don't know the detail. We don't know the seriousness, do we?
I know the injury to Dante Jackson is the AC joint in his shoulder. It's something that happened in the Chargers game, and he's been dealing with all year playing through. And last night, I don't know if it just became like too much to deal with, or they're just being, hey, you know what, we're playing well, precautionary reasons. We're going to take your helmet away. You just sit down and relax. And I'm hoping it was that right there. It's almost the latter. Like, hey, we're playing well. No need to go back out there re-aggravate this. You've done a lot for the team. Just chill. Montravius, I haven't heard anything about, and that's going to be a big blow. He's a good backup. He's a nice number two nose tackle to have to come into the rotation. So that's going to be. I'm more worried about that one. I'm worried because I think Dante will be back. He's played all year with it. It's the Montravius Adam one I'm worried about because there's not much depth there on the D line anymore.
Um, Again, Steelers, big win last night, 37-15. Next game is the New York Giants, Monday Night Football. Next week, 1 week from tonight, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be hosting the New York Giants. And it's a pretty big game, even though this Giants team is pretty bad. You're going to want to make sure you focus, don't get lost in this and and screw something up. Getting this win, going 6-2, going into the break before the second half of the season starts, I think is pretty important. Mike, as you were mentioning the offensive line, what else can you say about this offensive line? A huge night from Najee Harris, over 100 yards. They kept the quarterback up off the ground for the most part. I
Mm-hmm.
think there was one early in the game, but the offensive line, this line of misfits and plugins and rookies, and
Yeah.
I, that's as good as I've seen a team, an offensive line in the NFL. What can you say about that offensive line last night that would be negative?
Broderick Jones.
Well, yeah, that goes
Yeah,
without
yeah, yeah.
saying.
Like it was funny. Like we traded up to get Broderick Jones. The next player pick was McDonald, and that was who was going up against him and beat him a couple times. But Broderick rebounded well. Yeah, a couple guys made it through because they do have a good front seven. That Jets team. So, they were going to get some pressure. They were going to get some disruptive plays in the backfield. But for overall, that offensive line played a hell of a game. And like you said, a bunch of cast off and misfits. You got Seo Malu, the Super Bowl winner, the Pro Bowler, and then you got a bunch of guys. But I think Dan Moore in this game, watch the way he played. Go back and watch it again. This guy is going to make a shit ton of money in the offseason.
Uh,
Hopefully, we can re-sign him and let Broderick Jones be a backup or get rid of him. But no, I thought the line played well, man.
Mike,
Everyone stepped up. I was worried. I was worried about the center and the guard combo with Quinn and Williams, and he was like a non-factor this game. These guys came to play.
Jen saying the board, Jackson was moving pretty good on the sideline during celebrations. I would
Oh yeah, he
agree on
was.
that. But you know what? How can you not have been excited for that game last night?
Like,
Um, I gotta say, I mean, it had everything. It had
mhm.
offense, it had defense, special teams. It even had, yes, it did have a streaker during the game. I wish they would have shown a little bit more of the streaker. I seen a chick running across the field. I would have liked to know what was going on a little bit more.
She should just be lucky James Harrison's now retired.
Yeah. So this game, it did, guys. It did have a little bit of everything. Feeling pretty good today. It was a team that I was, I was a little skeptical. I didn't know how this was going to go,
Mhm.
and especially going with the quarterback change. The guy has been hurt. He's had a tight calf since the beginning of preseason. We didn't know what we were going to get, and I think everybody's pleasantly surprised this morning. especially if you're at work, you're around the water cooler, wherever you could talk shit about your Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody, I'm sure, is taking advantage of that. Mike, we are at the halfway point, so I am going to catch up on some points on the board, some comments on the board. Then also we are going to knock out today. We're going to knock out yesterday's scores, getting ready to move into the Monday Night Football game. So let's see. Let me start back on Jen. Jen says, love seeing the boys rallying around Danny Smith. Absolutely. Derpy says, shout out Sunday Night Football for the Michael Keaton intro. It was awesome. Timmy Turner says, I love Danny Smith. He is a true Steelers. I couldn't agree with you more.
He's the
Field of
best.
Steel says, yes, sir. That's how I coached, challenge players, and gut check. I agree 100% on that. Jen says, NFL Network is replaying the game at 1 p.m. in case you want to rewatch it. Timmy Turner is also saying, I give huge love to the offensive line of McCollum. Absolutely.
Beastly.
Field of Steel said Fields and Wilson are professional quarterbacks. Be a leader out there, score when you get the ball, especially when the defense gives the ball back to you. Absolutely. First game in a long time. I felt comfortable with a win before the fourth quarter, Jen says. John, a great point. Well done in all three phases. I can't disagree with that at all. Third down conversions were lacking. I do acknowledge that. But they got a little bit better as the game went on. I remember at one point they said that we haven't had one yet, and then we went on a scoring binge, and that kind of went away. Or even if it didn't, nobody even cared after that.
Getting 5 of 14, but we also 2 for 2 on fourth down. So
yeah,
and
also,
not great.
Phil still says I saw some complimentary football. I love the way Jen spells Aaron Rodgers. She spells his name with an E.
I love it.
Phil the Steel says offense woke up. Jackson was moving okay. I expect Wilson 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Pickens 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Harris 180 yards, 2 touchdowns versus the Giants. If this is for real, ain't that the truth?
That's the energy I want. I love it.
Jen, there were a lot of famous people in the house last night. Elon Musk was also there, and Michael Keaton was at the game, and many more. I'm sure there was people that Glorilla. I know Glorilla was there, and Ciara. So Pittsburgh turned into LA East all of a sudden. And finally, Field of Steel says, fellas, Steel D always steps up. Finally, Steel offense answered. You guys are, you nailed it. I got to say, the board is man, they're just making me smile today. Everything on this board, I agree.
Like the most ball knowledgeable, watchers around.
Absolutely.
They do on top of it.
I couldn't agree more. We have smart friends, I can tell you that.
Me too. Without them, I don't know what I'd do.
No, I don't know what you do either.
Shut up.
Let me pull up the scoreboard, Mike. We will go over the scores from the day because there are some significant things that's going to go on from this as well, Mike. Let's start with last week. Of course, the Broncos beat the Saints on Thursday Night Football as a 33-10, and then there was a Sunday morning football game. Jaguars beat the Patriots 32-16. Let's get into Sunday. The big matchup in the NFC Central, Mike. I was anticipating this one: the Lions versus the undefeated Vikings. The Lions win this game 31-29 in that division. I think that's going to go a long way. A lot of people after the game last night I've seen commenting, let's get a Vikings-Steelers Super Bowl. Interesting off of the 50-year anniversary game of that happening. But you got two pretty good teams this year. Buffalo, Mike, we could have used a loss from them. They did beat the Titans 34-10.
Mason Rudolph let me down.
Yes, he did get to start down there. Colts win 16-10 over the Dolphins. Seahawks a big win 34-14 over the Falcons. Getting a little love from the Packers beating one of our AFC foes, the Houston Texans. Packers win 24-22. The Bengals, this game, what a clown fest this was. Deshaun Watson, he gets hurt. The fans are saying you got what you deserve. They absolutely hate this guy up there in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
He's hurt. Bengals win 21-14. The Eagles beat our next opponents, the Giants, 28-3. This is a really bad team, guys. The Giants, this might be another fun one. Raiders take the L to the Rams, 20-15. Commanders, our next opponent after the break, two games from now, they beat the Panthers 40-7. A rematch of the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the 49ers 28-18. The 49ers are under 500. One other note that I do have to make, Mike, jumping back to the Buffalo Bills game, DeMar Hamlin. Hamlin did get another interception for the
Oh, no
Buffalo
way. Well
Bills last
done.
night. Good for him. And then tonight there are two. I keep mentioning the one because it's the only one that's really significant, but I guess the other one could be the 8:15 game tonight on Monday Night Football. The Ravens at the Buccaneers get a little help from Baker Mayfield. We could have first place all to ourselves again. And then the second one, which is a 9 o'clock start, is the Chargers at Cardinals. Cardinals can help us out a little bit too. That Chargers team taking a loss can certainly help in the AFC picture for us as well. So a couple of games of significance tonight, but the big one, of course, is the 8:15 start. Mike, the Ravens, Buccaneers. Any chance that the Buccaneers can win this football game?
I think so. They got weapons, man. Baker's playing well. You got Godwin. You got Mike Evans. You have offensive weapons to counteract that good defense that they have. But it's going to be what can the Buccaneers defense do against Lamar and King Henry? So it's going to be a tough one. I do think Baltimore is going to win, but I would not be shocked or surprised if our buddy Baker pulls it out.
Think about the Ravens. I mean, they've been susceptible to losing. I mean, a couple
Mm-hmm.
times this year
Yeah,
they lost to a
Raiders.
Raiders team that we
Yeah,
dominated. Of course, they lost to Kansas City early, but Kansas City, even though sitting at 6-0, does not look that
they're
great. I
not
think
playing good ball.
they're really not. I wish they would take an L at some point while they're
Yeah.
not playing good ball. That would help us out. But some things are happening in our direction, and again, as I said, Mike, it feels like we're watching an NFL football team in
Mm-hmm.
its entirety for the first time in a long time.
Right now, I would love to see the Steelers play the Chiefs right now because the Chiefs are playing the way we used to. Drag everyone down to our level and play some bad football. And I think we would be able to hang with Kansas City this year if we were to match up against them. I would play them now. I don't want to wait till
I
Christmas.
know.
I don't want to wait because by Christmas in the playoffs they will have figured
Them and
something
Buffalo,
out.
they'll get their shit together. Buffalo's a team that
Yeah.
we have the same record as of right now, but you know
Like,
damn well. But I got to tell you, if we come out and play like we did yesterday, and take the referees out of a Kansas City matchup, maybe, just maybe, you could beat these teams, Mike. But again, consistency goes a long way, and there's still 10 games to go.
yeah.
A lot of
I
things could happen in 10
yeah.
games. It
I'm,
took
I'm
us a
just
while
kind
to
of
it took us a while to get to where we're
yeah.
at, but again, still 10 games before the playoffs
But
start.
I'm just kind of upset the bye week's coming now because now you're starting to see the team roll. They're starting to gel, and then you get that break. I
Yeah.
like it. We're gonna get healthy, but I just want them to keep playing because they're playing better, and better every week.
Mike, it's time to do some grades for the game yesterday.
Yes,
I know that you watched the game. I think that you rewatched the game.
I was
So
twice already.
we should get very accurate grades from you, Mike, from a game that I think shouldn't be that difficult to grade anyway.
No,
But let's jump into this, Mike. What do you give the quarterback? Of course, we go through all the positions the day after the game, and we would grade every position by position. Quarterback play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike. What do you give the quarterbacks for the game yesterday?
I'm gonna give them. I'm gonna give Russ an A minus. Yeah, I know he started off sluggish, didn't look that sharp, but my God,
But
this
don't those
man
things
turned it on.
disappear
They
when the
do.
rest of the game goes the way that
Yes.
goes?
Yeah, yeah. Like it did not that first quarter did not negatively affect the rest of the game. So it's going to be an A minus.
Mike, let's go to the running back position. What do you give these guys?
I'm going to give them an A plus. Najee ran hard, Jalen ran hard. They made some plays when the play broke down. Jalen Warren back there on pass pro. Yeah, these guys are getting an A plus. They played a sound game.
All right. Tight ends. I know I really, really love the look of our tight ends yesterday.
Yes.
I don't know if we got any touchdowns from these two gentlemen, but I got to say, they looked really nice.
They're also going to get an A plus for me. They were clutch. I think on every pass targeted to them, they caught every single one. Maybe one was overthrown to Mount Washington, but I thought in the pass game and the run game they played extremely well. So A plus.
Hey, you're grading like that teacher that used to give you used to give you them massages in school. You know that all these A's.
Oh yeah,
Mike, the wide receiver position. Now this is every wide receiver. Now you got to put that in consideration. I think
yeah.
George Pickens had a pretty damn good game. Um, This is Calvin Austin. This is Van Jefferson. This is guys beneath them. Scotty Miller. Wide receivers as a whole. What do you grade this crew?
I'm gonna give them
Break
an
it
A.
down because it might be a little bit more. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna give them an A minus. George is gonna get an A plus for me. He was unreal. Calvin Austin, he had that nice big play, but he also had that drop. But that drop was early on, and he made up for it big time. Van Jefferson had a good catch, fell down at one point, caused us to kick a field goal, but he come back fourth quarter, catches a touchdown. So these guys are gonna get an A minus.
Mike, the offensive line.
They're getting an A. Yeah, there were some pressures. There were some run plays that blown up, but that happens to every offensive line in the league. They did not do. There were no egregious, boneheaded blocking decisions that I noticed on both watch throughs. So they're going to get an A. And what can you say about McCormick and what can you say about McCollum? Those two stepped up huge. McCormick might be one of the steals of the draft. My God, guy's playing like a starter already.
All right, let's jump over to the defensive side of the ball. Mike, what do you give this defensive line? Cam and Ogunjobi and Benton?
I'm going to give them an. Oh, I'm gonna give them an. It's an A something. I don't know if it's an A plus. Is there something in between A and A plus? Because they played well. Um, they controlled the line of scrimmage. They did not let Brees Hall get their run game going. They were able to get to Rodgers, make the pocket uncomfortable. A couple key batted down passes. Got the sack from the line. Ogunjobi was a beast. Cam was a steady game. Yeah, they're gonna get an A.
The linebacker core, Mike. TJ, Highsmith, Wilson, Queen, Roberts. What do you give this group of guys?
I'm gonna give those guys a B plus. Queen, it looked like he had a step back in the game. He didn't look as forceful as he was last game, as assertive. I wanted to see more out of Highsmith pressure wise. Everyone was sliding over to TJ. I wanted more out of Highsmith, but he made some good plays in the run game. They're going to get a nice B plus.
All right, let's go back to the secondary, Mike. What do you give the defensive backfield now? Let's think of these guys: Joey Porter
Mm-hmm.
Jr., Beanie Bishop, Minka, Elliott. What do you give them?
We did give up 276 yards passing, but a lot of that, like we said, came from Breesy Hall. There were some missed tackles back there, but we did have the two interceptions. Porter played well. Beanie, like I said, Beanie played amazing. Deshaun Elliott flying all over the place. So
And the great Devontae Adams gets 30 yards on 3
I
catches. Come on.
know, yeah. So even though you look at the yardage, like, oh my god, it's a lot, but a lot of it's from the running back. That's on the backers and the D backs as well. So they're going to get an A minus. I thought they
Mike, my
like what?
special favorite part of the game is the special teams. I really enjoyed what the special teams were able to do. I think that if you could do that really well on top of doing well, having a good offense and a good
Mhm.
defense, it goes a long way. Mike, what do you give these special teams?
Game in, game out, Ryan. They have just been the most consistent unit. They are getting an A plus. Waitman, another 3 punts inside the 20, 46 yards a punt, had that
Yeah.
big 55 yarder. Boz is Boz. I think his only miss this year is that 60 plus yarder. You know, two block kicks, even though one didn't count. Yeah, this almost blocked a punt, at least 2 punts, I believe. So yeah, they're getting an A plus. It might be the best special teams unit in the NFL.
Mike, coaching. How was coaching last night? Special teams, offense, defense, head coach all together. What do you give the coaching?
I give the coaching an A plus. You like I said, you saw adjustments throughout the game, and these started all come together after halftime. They were getting better as the game went on in that first half. Danny Smith had the special teams fired up. I like what Arthur Smith was doing on offense. I love what Terrell Austin was doing on defense. So yeah, they're getting it.
Also, and finally, Mike, overall, what do you give this team overall? I think it's going to be hard to not give them a very good grade.
It's going to
What
be a solid A, man. It was an A performance, man. Clean up a few things here and there would be an A plus across the board, but yeah, it's very close to an A plus. These guys had a hell of a game.
So I guess the big question, Mike, and we're only going to give one. Let's make it
Hmm.
difficult. Who gets your game ball this week?
It's toss up.
Yeah, I mean you could give it to about 3 guys. I acknowledge
Three
that,
guys
maybe
you
even
can give.
more.
You can give Danny Smith a game ball too.
But
I'm
who do
gonna
you
go.
give your
I'm
game
gonna
ball
give it
to?
to Danger Russ. You know, he got George Pickens involved. He got Jefferson involved. He got consistent tight end. He got those guys involved consistently. I'm gonna give it the game ball to Russ.
I do too. That's who I listen. You could have easily gave it to Beanie Bishop
Oh,
easily.
easily.
You could have easily given it to George. You could easily give it to Najee. You could easily give it to. Listen, as I said, there's a
There's a
handful.
list.
Danny Smith. So I'm going to give it to Russ. He is the leader. He's the quarterback. For what the team, how they responded with him in there. Early there was issues. He was throwing bullets at the ground. I don't know what that was about,
Yeah, I
but
know,
he did.
right?
What was that? But he did
Behind, he was
warm up.
thrown behind receivers. It was
Right.
bad.
I was a little concerned early on, and you could tell so were the fans. They were being vocal at the game as well. But you know what? As I said, at the end of the day, the team rallied around their quarterback, and it was a game that I feel that I haven't felt in a few years on just an overall feel of how well the team played. And again, Russ knows that you got to sometimes just let these guys make the play, and
Hmm.
where quarterbacks have been afraid to throw the ball downfield, down the middle of the field, or over the past couple seasons,
Yeah,
he's doing those things. It's hard to teach when you have experience.
yeah. And
So, Mike,
his deep passes were just so accurate too. It was uncanny.
Where is now? We have one more week till Cam Sutton comes back. Is his position in jeopardy with Beanie
Mm.
Bishop, the undrafted rookie? Cam Sutton again coming back off of his 8-game
Hmm.
suspension. Is his
Now
position, is his job in jeopardy with Beanie playing the way that he is?
it could be, but this adds more
Because I
depth to
waited
the
all the way
secondary.
till this week, Mike. I couldn't wait for Cam to get back, but
Oh,
now
now
I don't.
Beanie's the
Not
past
so
two
much.
weeks. The past 2 weeks, Beanie has played very well, but I, depending on the injury to Dante Jackson, because Cam, he can play outside, but he doesn't play it as well as he plays the slot. So yeah, he's going to get playing time, but I think as the number one slot receiver, he's going to be Beanie, unless Beanie, he's young. He might have an up and down game. When that happens, now we have the guy we can bring in. We like if the game against Dallas, the game against the Colts would have been a great time to have Cam Sutton in the game because those are games that Beanie struggled in. But now Beanie's playing well. You get Cam back. It's just more options to use out there. I say you let Beanie roll, and then you have Cam Sutton there ready to come in if someone's having a rough day on the inside or outside. And like I said in the preseason, our secondary position might be one of the best in the NFL, and it's getting better and better every week.
I can't wait to play a
Now you add
division
Cam to
team.
it.
I'm going to tell you, I cannot wait till we play a division team.
I
We,
know.
and the thing was, it was supposed to be such a grueling schedule with this
Yeah.
division and the tough games and the Browns and the Bengals and the Ravens. With the Browns sitting there with 1 win, the Bengals sitting there with 3 wins, almost, as I said, going to the halfway point. I'm feeling a little bit better. Again, Philadelphia, I mean, they're good, but they're not what they were. And you mentioned earlier about the Chiefs and the Commanders. The Commanders and the Ravens would be the two teams that I feel would be the biggest challenge
Hmm.
at this point. I think Casey's just such a game by game situation.
Yeah.
They are the face. They are, I get it. So you're going to get whatever with them. And I don't get me wrong. I don't agree with that, but that seems to be the way that it is. They are the new Patriots until I see otherwise.
Yeah.
Listen, Mike, let's go ahead and talk about a few other things here because the show it's blowing by. I don't even know what the hell has been going on for the past 48 and a half minutes. But let's talk about a few other things. The Penguins, since Friday, they played 2 games. Since the last time we spoke to you, they lost both of them. On Friday, they lost 4-1 to the Hurricanes, where O'Connor scored the only goal for the Penguins. On Sunday, the Penguins lose to the Jets, where the Steelers beat the Jets. The Penguins lose to the Jets 6-3. The Jets improved though, Mike, to 5-0. It's a pretty good team up there. Penguins dropped to 3-4. Eller scores 2 goals in that game. Hayes scores 1 goal. Penguins' next game is tomorrow at Calgary. They play the Flames at 9:30 tomorrow night in a late game against the Flames. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they get the W, Mike. They win 2-0 over Loudoun United. 2-0. Their next game next week. Get this name of this team they play, Mike. Next week, on Saturday, they play the El Paso Locomotive FC. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds play El Paso Locomotive FC. That
You
game's on
know,
Saturday at 7 o'clock. Yeah.
for Texas, that's a not that unique.
No, you're
We went
right.
through. went through their high school football names a while ago.
Yeah.
That one's just like people are like, oh yeah, that tracks. That works for us.
A little college football scoop from over the weekend. Of course, Penn State, and Ohio State were all off. They had second buys of the season. But however, Pitt, they increased in the rankings. They moved up to 19 with the week off.
Nice.
We will take it. They do play Syracuse on ESPN this Thursday night. Pitt did also hire a new AD, Alan Green. Alan Green is the new athletic director over there. A few games from the weekend, Mike. Number 17, Kansas State beats West Virginia 45-18. West Virginia drops to 3-4 overall. A couple games in the high end of the rankings. The Georgia Bulldogs come in at they're number 5. They beat the number 1 Texas.
Yeah.
They beat Texas 30-15. In the other big game, Mike, number 7 Alabama, they lose to number 11 Tennessee 24-17. Also, the World Series is set, everybody. The New York Yankees will be taking on the LA Dodgers. Game 1 will be Friday. What a surprise. The two teams that pay the most money for their players are in the World Series facing off. Who would have seen this coming? I got to say. Also, Mike, the Dodgers finished the Mets off yesterday with a 4-2 win. The Yankees, they finished off the Cleveland Guardians, with a 5-2 win, and they win the series 4-1. So the one thing about baseball that I think was talk worthy here, guys, is the fan at the Cleveland game who was sitting behind home plate with his shirt that said it was a Pittsburgh Pirates sell the team shirt. I thought that was pretty awesome. Maybe at some point somebody will take the advice. Finally, Mike, the WNBA has a champion. I haven't talked to them since Caitlin Clark's been knocked out of the playoffs. The New York Liberty, they win in overtime over the Minnesota Lynx 67-62. And that is the New York Liberty, a 3-2 win in the WNBA finals. So there you go. Your New York Liberty are your WNBA champions. Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website?
The2dumbinsers.com. Head on over there, everyone. Check it out, especially if you're new. We got all of our social media links over there, clickable. We got the merch store, and we got the blog all over at the2dumbinsers.com.
All right, guys. So the question of the day, the trivia of the day. Now we're moving into, for the second consecutive week, a New York football team. This time it's the New York Football Giants. So as we do on the show every week, the team, whoever the Steelers are going to be playing that week, is who we have trivia about all week. This week is the Giants, the G-Men. Are you ready, Mike?
I am ready
for a little Giants trivia. Mike, put on your thinking cap. Everybody on the board, play along. People at home, here we go. Who leads the all-time series between the Steelers and the Giants? Plain and simple. Who leads the all-time series between the Steelers and the Giants? Take a moment to think that over. We're live 5 days a week, right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day, right here on YouTube. All right, Mike, question of the day. Board, people at home. Who leads the all-time series between the Steelers and the Giants? You want to take any guesses? Do you know?
Can I pull a derpy and ask for a hint? No? Okay. No, I'm going to take your Pittsburgh Steelers, baby.
It is one. Do you want your hint?
No. I was being facetious. I was joking.
Here it is. You ready?
Yep.
It's either the Steelers or the Giants. And you're taking the Steelers?
The Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers, yeah.
All right. I'm going to lock Mike in on the Steelers. Feel the Steel is feeling the Giants. The Feel the Steel also says that he lives there in Texas, and he says that soccer is not I'm going to be honest, it's not really a big thing in Pittsburgh either. People has taken to it because this Pittsburgh Riverhound team has become successful. But I got to say, it's not really that big here in Pittsburgh either. So the question of the day is, who leads the all-time series between the Steelers and the Giants? Mike says the Steelers. Feel the Steel says the Giants. It is by way of, there's been 78 games played between these two franchises. 78. One of them leads 44-31.
Oh, wow.
And that would be the New York Giants.
Oh.
The New York Giants, and there's actually 3 ties. I'm sure it happened way back in the day. But again, between 78 meetings between a team and the other conference, that tells me a lot of it was from before the NFL formed. But the all-time record between the Giants and the Steelers is 44 for the Giants, 31 for the Steelers, and 3 ties, and that is in 78 total games.
Well, we're getting 33 this weekend.
That's
throwing
right.
it out there. We're getting one more. Damn it.
Well, it would be 32, but
I was thinking we were at 32 already. I misheard.
But no, there you go, everybody. I think Feel the Steel got it on the board. Mike, anything if we start getting ready to wrap it up? I can't believe the show's over already. I honestly,
I know.
I feel like we could talk about 100 more things.
I don't know. Like, we can talk about the Deshaun Watson's tendon rupturing. You can watch his calf go like this.
Remember that happened to Aaron too. Aaron Rodgers was the same way. You watched it ripple.
It couldn't, Twitter is having fun with that one.
I like Deshaun Watson in their offense. I have no problem with him in there. I think they're doing terrible with him, and I would prefer.
I know.
I don't want another Joe Flacco situation.
I want him a speedy recovery. I want him back as soon as possible. It's good.
I mean, it's funny and all that he got, but I'd rather him be.
Jameis Winston might actually be a competent quarterback. We can't have that in Cleveland.
Yeah,
that's what I'm worried about. But no, man, Mike Tomlin took a lot of flack this week in the local media and in the national media, and so did Russ. And they silenced the critics, but the critics are slow to give a little credit to these two last night. It's kind of funny. Like, no one wants to sit there and eat crow and say, "Oh, we were wrong about Russ." I was, interested to see what Russ can do.
The guy's been hurt
I did not
months.
think we were going to get this from Russell
He's
Wilson,
30
but I'm happy.
Some years old. He's been hurt for months. Of course, I mean, rightfully so. It isn't like people were making a ill. It was an educated opinion. Phil still watch the Giants win. That would be the most Steeler thing that I could think of. Come on.
I'm actually optimistic. I'm actually optimistic going into this week.
You know what, I am too, and that's what's scary.
The Steelers trying to. He's taking.
This will be the low, slow scoring, ugly game that we've been talking about. It'll come against the Giants, but let's hope not. My thing is this, Mike. It's a little bit off topic, but let me ask you guys a question.
Oh God.
These people that identify as, let me just say for an example, a cat, and they seriously 100% identify as a cat or a dog, or people are identifying as anything these days. Do you agree somebody who seriously identifies as a cat should legally be able to drive? Should they legally be able to drive if they seriously self-identify as a cat?
Oh, because I see where you're like.
You see what I'm saying?
People that are, yeah.
Because they want us to treat them as if they were a cat, and if they are, they shouldn't be driving, right?
And should they be spayed or neutered?
There you go. Not to get into
eugenics thing, but I'm just saying. No.
They shouldn't be able to drive, because how many cats have you seen driving down the road? And if they really believe they're a cat and they want me to treat them like a cat, then no, they should not be driving a vehicle. That's my opinion for the day.
And do they walk around showing you their butt and doing their butthole doing a little strut like the cats do?
They may. I don't know. I don't know what goes on that.
I know, but can they teach me that kind of flexibility? Is what I want to know. Can they clean themselves like a cat?
Phil the Steel says no. They shouldn't be driving. I agree. I don't. Again, in my many years, I have never seen a cat driving.
Well, you need to get out more or do some.
I guess, right? Living in the days of driving cats.
Some of the people drive around here. I might be willing to take my chance with the crazy cats driving.
I also do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out, checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every. I didn't mean to laugh because Mike interrupted me thanking everybody, but I do want to say thank you to everybody. We certainly do appreciate each and every one of you. Everyone on the board, thank you so much. On the board, you guys always keep the show interesting. John says, "Does Derpy drive?"
He does not.
He does not drive. He's not. Mike's just not saying that to be funny.
I don't think he drives. Heck yeah, I don't blame him. But if he could drive, Feel the Steel says he should be able to drive. But when Derpy drives, he has to wear that panda hat. That's the deal.
Yeah, I want to see him wear that when he's getting neutered too.
I just want to see Derpy wear that around town, and we just go film him.
Oh man. Anyway, Derpy will be back tomorrow, guys. He will be
Oh,
back. We have picks tomorrow. Derpy took
yes.
an interesting strategy into the picks this week. I think it may have backfired, but we will see tomorrow as we roll that out
He
after the
found the
last Monday night
loophole.
games are played for the week. And that will be tomorrow. Derpy will be back. Be sure to join us then. Other than that, Mike, anything else?
I got nothing other than Jen's right. Derpy found the loophole.
But
He's a
can
panda.
pandas drive either, though? I think that's the big picture here. Can pandas drive and cats can't? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Now this show's about to go off the deep end.
But we do thank you, everybody. Thank you so
Yes.
much. We hope to see you tomorrow. We'll be back first thing to talk about all this stuff that's going on and more. We do have Monday Night Football tonight. Big game. I hope everybody watches because we will be
Yes.
hitting that heavy tomorrow. Um, Baltimore at Tampa Bay, 8:15 tonight. This can certainly help us out in the division. And the Chargers at the Cardinals. That is the 9 o'clock game. Starts at 9, the second game. That could help as well with the Chargers loss. Not a big thing, but we'll take it if we can get it. Mike, again, speak now or forever hold your peace, brother.
I got nothing, man. Good show, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody, for Mike, myself, Mike in the Steeler Central Mobile Studio, myself in this awesome new background. I do want to tell you that we plan on pulling this out a couple weeks ago. Mike put it into action, and I love this background. Of course, it is Pittsburgh, and we cannot wait to see everybody tomorrow. Everybody have a, you know what, John? I hit one early. I did hit one early. You may have missed that, but there was. I don't know if we've ever had a burp-free episode. But for Mike, myself, the two dumb yinzers, everybody have a great Monday, and we'll